So today we're going to talk about how to make a net, and this is an example of one I've already made. Now you can use the same method to make a hammock. This is actually a kind of small hammock, but it does work as a hammock. So yeah, let's get to it. Okay, to make our net, first we need our netting needle, which is this. And our spacer, which is this. This spacer, the width of this spacer here is basically exactly the same size as one side of each square of the net. Okay. So to start your net, you need to load the needle, and that's pretty easy. You just hold some on there, right round, and then around the other side, and you just keep working your way round. Okay, so the trickiest part is always the start. So we've kind of fed a length. I'm just going to do one more off here, and what we're going to do is we're just going to do 2 wraps around here, and this gives us our first loop size. Now the easiest way is you just take an overhand knot, like so, and that's our overhand knot. And then I'm going to put the overhand knot onto here, and then we're going to do our first loop, but this one's going to be different to all the others, so this is a little bit trickier. So you take your needle and you go up through, okay, and then this is the tricky part. You want your knot, you want this first knot halfway up the loop between the peg and your spacer. So you end up with something looking like this. Okay. And then from here, we're going to take, so you can see from there, you're going to put your thumb on this, keep it nice and secure. You're going to go through round the back of those, and then you're going to come up and then through the loop that you just made. Okay, and then from there you just pull tight. Okay, so there we go. So you can see we've got 2 loops. Okay, so this is the beginning of our net. So what we're going to do is we're going to build one long run of loops, and then each of these loops or holes is going to be one side of the net. So you'll have, say, I don't know, if your net say a foot long, which is something what we'll do because we're doing a demo. You just do as many loops as you need to be for a foot long. Okay, so from there, this is where you just repeat. So you take your spacer, you put it behind. Okay, and then you bring it down to this point here, and you pinch with your thumb, and then again you take your needle, you pass it behind those 2 there, and then through the loop you just made, and pull tight. Okay, so we go, there's another loop. I'm going to take it all off, give ourselves a bit more string. Okay, and then you find this, the last loop you made, thread the needle through, pull it down, pass the needle through the two, ooh. Try not to get it in a tangle because you haven't got enough string. Okay, and there's the loop, so you pass it through. Okay, and there's your next loop. Okay, and then keep it going. So you thread through the loop, ooh, down the spacer, pinch, gonna go through the back of the two, round, you created this loop, and then up through the loop and pull tight. I'll just take this off here and we can see all the holes and the loops. So you can see we've got our first run of our net. Now what we're going to do is we're going to basically pick up all the first loops. So I've just got a carabiner here, but you can just use a piece of string or anything. I'm just using this so it's easy for you to see what I'm doing. So you just take that, go 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so now each one of those first loops is looped on the carabiner. Okay, and we're just gonna leave the carabiner there. Okay, actually I'm right-handed, so I'm gonna flip this over the other side. And what you end up with is you end up with all of those second loops down below. We've done our first row of net, we've got it hooked, and you can see these are the loops for our net. Okay, and so what you do is you do the same as what you were doing before. You take your spacer and your netting needle, you pass it through the loop. Ooh. Pull down, put your thumb on, round the back, through your loop, and tighten. Now you can see what just happened there. This is now sliding, okay, and we don't want that to slide. So how we fix that is I'm going to show you with this thicker cord here, essentially the knot that you're making. So we're going to make ourselves a loop. This is the loop that you pick up. You're then bringing the end through, and then you're going round the back, and then putting the end back through the loop you just made. Okay, and then all you're doing is just pulling tight. So that's actually a sheet bend. So all you're doing is making multiple sheet bends using a spacer and a lot of cord. Now your spacer keeps the square size, but the sheet bend's obviously the knot that you're actually using. Now one common thing that does happen is this loop at the back, if this doesn't get tightened up the top and it gets tightened down here, what you end up with is effectively like a slip knot, and you'll find it is moving around and it's not really biting on the net. So all you have to do is loosen it off, slide it up, and then pull down, and then you get your tight sheep bend. As we just loosen that off a little bit, bring it the other side. There's the junction, and pull tight. Okay, so there's one down. Okay, now we pick up the second one, bring that down. Now you're going through just those two that you just got. Okay. And you can see I'm making sure that my knot is going higher up. So that's knot 2. Then we've got number 3. Number 3, and then number 4. Okay, so there we go, there's our next row. Okay, so we can flip this over and start again. Okay, so there's another way of making a net too. I think it's less efficient, but I think it's easier to remember the methodology. So I'll do our 2 reps and get our overhand. So there's our overhand knot. Okay, put that over there. And then the method's kind of the same. We're gonna go up and through, pull it up to here, go around the back, just as we're doing with the other one, and lock it in. Okay, and then we need to do this again, up and through, and pinch it in, around the back, up and through, lock it in. Okay, and now we've got 2 little loops, and these end up being the sides. So then you go through one of the loops and you do the same as what you were doing before. So you bring that down, you go around the back and then up. Ooh. Up and through, lock that one in, and then you do the same with the other one. Oh, it's a bit tight. There we go. And then around the back, and then through. Okay, and we're going to do one more on this one. So you do it again. So around the back, oh sorry, up and through, and then around the back, and then lock it in. Okay, you can take the spacer off. Now you can see you actually only got one out of doing all of that knots, and you've only got one square. Okay, so then we start again on this side. Go through, down, and then you go up through your big one. Okay, and we got to the end of the line, so we got to do an extra one. So up and through, round the back. Oop. Okay, and take it off, and you can see now we have 3. Okay. Now this is just these are the end ones, but this is my problem with this methodology, is that you actually end up doing a lot more extra work, and you end up losing a lot more line, because on the ends of each of the rows, so this will continue out, you're basically starting in the corner of the net rather than working the side of the net, and from this point with working the corner, you're ending up having to double up on each of the ends, so you end up losing a lot more string, which I feel is inefficient and a bad use of the string. It's much easier to, with this method, and the other method is that you can make your net the depth of what you want, so you make it as deep as the stream or as wide as the hammock you want, and then you basically go from there, and then you just make it as long as you need it to be. This methodology, you're starting in the corner and you're working out, and then you're sure you can go parallel for a while, and then you're shrinking it by remembering to add one at the end, or leave one off, or not to add any. So I think this is a slightly more complicated method, and I think it's actually less efficient. We'll do a bit more on this one. So as you can see, this is also, so this is using that method. You can see all I've done is I've put the carabiner up in the tree and hooked it up in the tree, and then just continued to do it. I actually prefer to be to building the net standing up than sitting down or lying on the ground. You just get less things caught up in the net. But that's the net, or a hammock, depending, and then you can let it out. You can see here too where I've run out of string on the netting needle, and I've just rethreaded it and then tied a knot to join the two. There's another one up here as well. But essentially that's the net, and you can see now that the spacer is exactly the same size. So all these squares are built evenly, and you get a nice, good solid net.